Another Vice article has hit the towers, you guys. It's another VTubing article. And it's starring, guess what? You'll never guess who this is about. You'll never guess who this one's about, too. It's Kirsche again. Not just Kirsche, but Kirsche's in this one again, too. And since I have taken upon myself, for some reason, no one asked me to do this, by the way, but I've been trying to research more and more into the VTubing scene. And the more I look into VTubing, the more I'm like surprised at how shocked I am of what's happening, if that makes any sense. Here is another Vice article about bigotry in VTubing, which I gotta say, after having certain conversations with a couple of VTubers on my Twitter, it does make sense when you realize this is part and parcel with the anime community. And I'll explain what I mean by that after we get a little bit into this article. Oh shit. Update. Since the publication of this article, harassment against me has become particularly egregious on Twitter. An anime-themed tea company told me to kill myself. A right-wing VTuber fan encouraged me to buy rope to hang myself. If I had a freak like Anna Valens attacking me and slandering me, I would just remind him that this item right here is very cheap and value for the wallet. Oh, what the? What the? The Dragon's Treasure, maybe you should listen to them for once. Others continue the lurid harassment discussed in the original article. One Twitter user misgendered me and concluded, I am a degenerate with a humiliation fetish. Another used a meme to tell me, you're a man. A third argued, the trans community has a big problem in the room. Autogenophilia. A fourth just, I created the harassment against myself. Okay, yeah. Okay. All right. So okay, can we let's kill the Destiny talk, please. We have more important things to talk about, like anime VTubers. This is already exactly what I was going to talk about. There has been such insane levels of bigotry in the anime community, honestly, for years, that kind of went underground because people didn't really put eyes on anime. When anime was just like in the cracks of the internet, right? You had these forums and these people who could be as awful as terrible as they wanted to be. You often saw them as like gatekeepers. They'd be the guys who were like, oh, you're a woman, you like anime? Name 5 animes, and they can't be popular ones, right? Can't say Naruto or One Piece or Bleach or Dragon Ball. You gotta give me one of the deep cuts, like those kinds of guys. But then if you go like a layer deeper, you get to the real like incel level hatred of women and people who are different from them because they've internalized the treatment they got from other people who bullied them. And those guys were kind of in like the deep recesses of the anime community, but we kind of kept them at bay. A couple would sneak up and we put them down. But as anime got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and more people got into it, these guys got angrier and angrier and angrier. And now you have an entire vehicle of content created to sort of play upon that. Having like anime waifus is a joke to a lot of people, but to a lot of these guys, it's not a joke. It's their bread and butter. They love that shit. And it's people who are exploiting that. And they can tap into that rage and anger. And you're seeing that right here. You've probably experienced it. If you've ever been on Twitter and saw an anime PFP, especially if it was like a lolly, especially if it was like K-On or some shit, you knew you were about to be hit with some of the most egregious amounts of bigotry you could possibly imagine. Oh, we'll get to Revs as deaths in a second. Don't worry about that. All right, so now let's read the original article. Hold on, still going? Oh my God. I do not expect this harassment to end today on Twitter. Whether it's a right-wing VTuber fan using an AI image of Shiloh Hendricks to put me off, or Shiloh, well, fuck her, or a harasser encouraging others to bully fucking journalists, further evidence of bigotry in VTubing is being created in real time via my Twitter replies alone. In fact, I fear I may become a punching bag for the right-wing in VTubing. One VTuber previously criticized her transphobia entered my mentions to tell me you will never be a woman. Okay, can I say something also too? Like, You guys are fucking VTuber fans. Like, I'm sorry for all the cool VTubers out there, for like all like the Iron Mouses and like the Rubber Rosses and all you guys, Sakuno, Trishino. I'm sorry, but you guys are fucking VTubers and VTuber fans. You do not get the moral high ground of essentially calling other people weird or losers when you go crazy for fucking rigged up anime girls. Okay, there was a where was it? There was a fucking clip. This shit.
So apparently this video blew up. For context, this is a VTuber concert in Thailand, and the reason it blew up because this happened. I don't know who the VTuber
like I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm gonna keep it a stack. You don't get to be, this can't be part of your community and you think you're better than any other fucking community when we can pull this shit up and have a million people fucking cringe in unison. A literal 7-minute meme compilation was made, okay? And this is no disrespect to, again, anyone who is like chill fans of VTubers. This is no disrespect to actual cool VTubers, but you don't get to fucking have this and then be like, I'm gonna be transphobic. Motherfucker, you grew up in the lockers. You don't get to do this. You don't get to do this. I'm so sorry. If you were like a stereotypical jock, if you were like, you know, a fucking muscle-headed bro, sure, knock yourself out. Let's bring back 1990s bullying. But you're trying to go be transphobic and be a bigot when you guys are fucking losing your minds because an anime avatar opened his not real eyes? Give me a fucking break. Anime was a mistake. 100%. Anime was a mistake. All right. Earlier this week, independent VTuber Rin Penrose announced the end of her partnership with gaming supplement company Supps. You guys remember Supps is sponsoring Kirsche, and I guess other people too, but Kirsche is kind of the big one that's causing the problems. According to Penrose, her decision came due to their association with creators who views strongly conflict with my own, as well as a lack of communication from the company as issued. Penrose's decision reflects one I've heard from sources across the English-speaking VTubing community. All is not well among Gamersub's partner content creators. Last month, I reported on controversial Gamersub's partner Kirsche. Yes, we know. Wait, that was last month? I did this video like, oh, that was last month. Okay. Who has a well-documented history of espousing racist and transphobic beliefs. She does. Kirsche has since addressed her article claiming she does not condone or promote racism. That is such a fucking lie. That is such a lie. I keep getting constant fucking tweets showing her doing the exact same thing. The VTuber was recently the subject of another article regarding her views on Shiloh Hendrix, a white woman who called a black child the N-word. According to the clip of Kirsche, she does not believe Hendrix's behavior is okay. However, Kirsche believes Hendrix's racist actions are just kind of the consequence of where we're at right now, unfortunately, claiming that there are people advocating for violence on both sides of racial justice. Let's hear it in her own words.
A lot of people are just like unfollowed. That's an unfollow from me. Bostonian guy said, oh no, what am I going to do without followers that think it's okay to call a 5-year-old the N-word? I don't think most people think it's okay. I think there are a lot of people who are tired of things happening, like Daniel Penny, like the whole George Floyd incident and the Summer of Love, like the Carmelo Anthony. There's just a lot of people tired of the two-tier justice system, and they start saying some crazy things and doing some crazy things.
Okay, let's break this down. We're doing a mini breakdown here. She's a terrible person, bro. Yeah, I know, Cheesecake. I know. Let's just break this down real quick.
A lot of people without followers that think it's okay.
Right here?
I don't think a lot like Daniel Penny, like the whole George Floyd incident and the Summer of Love, like the Carmelo Anthony. There's just a lot of people tired of the two-tier justice system.
Okay, she's saying there's a two-tier justice system, which is correct. However, Listen to her framing, like Daniel Penny, who killed a black person, like George Floyd, who was killed, like Carmelo Anthony, which is an ongoing case that we don't have all the details about. She's trying to be like, people aren't racist. They're just tired of where we're at. Where are we? Are we headlong into fascism? Are we so racist that a woman calling a 5-year-old the N-word is getting almost $1 million in her give, go, send? Huh? Is that where we're at? Is that where we're at, Kirsche? Is Shiloh Hendricks really the end of cancel culture? White supremacists help raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for a woman who hurled slurs at a black child. Average white man, $14.88 USD. White Lives Matter, $14.88. If you guys don't know, those are the 14 words, and 88 is the 8th letter of the alphabet. So 88 is HH. So white supremacist. This is the white supremacist himself, Nicholas Fuentes. The Shiloh Hendricks fundraiser isn't about a racial slur or whatever happened in Playground. It's a middle finger to Carmelo Anthony, George Floyd, OJ Simpson, all the black people who supported them just because they're black. White people had enough. About a guy who's dead, OJ Simpson. What the fuck is? You weren't even alive when that OJ case happened, and all the black people who supported them. So all of us, just everyone, just literally everyone. Like, and it's a bunch of white people. You're telling me fundraiser CFO defends woman who raised $750,000 for herself after paying to hurl racist slurs at a child. Child's going through a dark moment, Give Send Go CFO Jacob Wells says during an interview. Like, like what would she need? What would she need $750,000 for? For calling a little black 5-year-old child the N-word. But that's where we're at right now. People are just tired of the two-tier justice system. George Floyd is dead, and you guys keep bringing him up more than any black person I've ever seen. What else? Daniel Penny didn't go to jail. So what are you talking about? Daniel Penny literally beat the case, and he got a job. He killed Jordan Neely. He was found not guilty. So proud, Daniel Penny. And now he has a job. Daniel Penny was hired by venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz in 2025. So he has a fucking job as a venture capital firm. Like, what do you mean two-tier justice system? That's what I was talking about before in my other video, if you guys want to watch it, about when I said these guys are getting weird. It's she won't just say shit. She wants to dance around it, but her rhetoric is very obviously that of white nationalism. Like, that's her whole thing. But yeah, dude, we're tired of this two-tier justice system.
And they start saying some crazy things and doing some crazy things. That doesn't make it okay, but it's like, that's just kind of the consequence of where we're at now, unfortunately. And there are some people who are like accelerationists that are like, the pendulum is going to swing back so far it's going to break off. And I hope that's not true. I don't want to see that happening. I don't like seeing this kind of like violence towards other people. Like, not that words are violence, right? But there are people advocating for violence.
Words can be violence. What are you talking about? She called him the N-word. Like, that is violence to a 5-year-old child being called a slur. That is violence. That's why it's a fucking slur. It's violence through words. Like,
violence on both sides. And I don't like seeing that. Nature be healing and shit. They will not kneel is the sum of it. You know? This is clown world, fuck it. It's, you know, most
They
started
it. Unironically, Obama did this. He repealed the propaganda laws.
People being upset at how the account is kind of cucked.
And Kirsche's brilliant political mind takes this and goes, well, it's kind of just an outcome of where we are right now. Again, remember in my last video where I said they will use vague shit. It's where we are right now. In the video when I talked about legendary drops, it's the media, it's this. They won't be specific ever, because if they talk what they specifically mean, then they can't dog whistle. But if you can pick up on the very obvious dog whistle, her framing was, people are tired of a two-tier justice system, and her examples were white people who got justice, who either went through the justice system, right, like Daniel Penny, and not only got off, but got a job afterwards. It's Shiloh Hendricks, who got $750,000 for calling a black kid the N-word. And then you have white supremacists donating to her and people defending her, saying, well, what about Carmelo Anthony? Oh yes, what about a completely different case with completely different circumstances versus a white woman, adult woman, calling a black child the N-word? Why does she need a fucking $750,000 for what? She's not the victim. But for these white racist people, they're always the victim. Oh my God, these black people are existing. Oh, this 5-year-old, he was acting like a thug. Like, Jesus Christ. Anyways, to be clear, Penrose did not specifically name any creator in her Gamer Supps announcement, nor is this the only controversy plaguing the company. As anger is mounted over Gamer Supps' partial owner, Cinder, a prominent VTuber accused of significantly mistreating her model artists and VTuber colleagues. Regardless, I suspect Penrose won't be the last creator to cut ties with Gamer Supps in the weeks ahead. I think Joe Cat is not renewing his partnership with them. Penrose is a major creator in the VTubing space. I suspect her departure will embolden others to voice their pledge with Gamer Supps' radio silence on Kirsche's comments, or at the very least, they may be utterly alarmed by the kind of vitriol being posted under Penrose's announcement tweet. The replies, to be blunt, are dumpster fire. One Twitter user said Penrose's announcement was a virtue signal over Kirsche. Another demanded no politics, stop crying. A third person called Penrose a pussy. A fourth told Penrose she was fucking stupid, while a fifth described her as firing herself because you're the R word. A self-described American nationalist, which is a Nazi, declared, the less of you virtue signaling R words, the better, as VTubing has no need for leftoid Marxist drivel who are obsessed with right-wingers. We aren't playing your gay little game anymore, the user wrote. Get lost. I cannot put into fucking words how much these people have lost their minds. Mind you, Kirsche has been basically one word short of just saying the 14 words for months. He is a mod for Synthetic Man. Yes, that's Synthetic Man. The one that Dead Domain did an amazing deep dive video on. The fucking Nazi, the neo-Nazi who hates Jewish people. Yeah, that guy. The guy I reacted to once. If you guys aren't remembering who he is, let's do a little a refresher of Synthetic Man. Give me 1 second.
A different species than Hylians. I'm not sure. They could be like a Sari and just take genetic material from Hylians to make more Gerudo, right?
Just wait. Just wait.
Now there's actually a lot of Hylians that are various shades of brown throughout the world. And of course, one of the founders of Hyrule set the stage for the entire series, created a wonderful Wakanda-esque utopia, is one of these brown Hylians. Almost literally, we was Kangs and shit. So much for Skyward Sword being the beginning of the series. And to dip into the schizo paint a little bit, the king being a goat man, who are the Zonai people who came from the heavens, is borderline satanic imagery. I have no idea if this is intentional or not, but Japan used to be infamous for putting weird Christian symbolism in anime and occasionally video games. So this could be an extension of that, or again, if you want to take the schizo angle, this is a result of a certain cult organization full of quote-unquote elites that are subtly inserting their propaganda into video games. There's all sorts of little nuggets of wokeness, like Paya now having a giant brown boyfriend who looks like a Giga Chad in comparison to Link, despite the fact she was thirsting for his dick in the last one. Not to mention the quote-unquote subtle homosexual imagery from Breath of the Wild has been expanded even further in this one. And I already know people are going to say I'm reading into it and no kid's going to see this shit, but that's exactly how you desensitize people and how you...
Okay, you understand. You understand how fucking stupid this guy is and how he's out of... He has... Oh, God. He is my favorite one of these guys because he does it for love of the game. He's just a pure dumbass hater. No agenda. He's just fucking stupid. But yes, this guy, Synthetic Man, she is a mod for him. Synthetic Man, Kirsche.
Fans could be lurking here right now. And I don't mean this in a mean way, legitimately. But I do have to question, do I want to help Kirsche become more popular? Oh shit, okay, never mind. I guess she is in chat because she is calling me. Hold on. Because if I morally don't entirely align with the idea of VTubers, even though I'm someone who has his copes, I've never liked ethos, and VTubers are a fucking arguably more pathetic version of ethos.
How easy are you to gaslight? Holy shit!
What happened?
Your chat just telling you that I'm fake this whole time.
Where you're not even...
So like in his chats is a mod, all this other stuff. Okay, I kind of went off the point, but they're like attacking this writer, saying we don't need leftoid Marxist drivel who obsessor right wingers and all this stuff and all that shit they're saying, right? Meanwhile, Kirsche is in the literal chats. The literal has access to Synthetic Man, who is a neo-Nazi, okay? Who just even the way he talked about fictional characters in Hyrule, the brown Hylians, like we was kings and shit, like, and that's the person she is attached to, okay? Like, but this is all, and we're gonna get more into this stuff. I've become a VTuber fucking drama channel, apparently. Ugh. The quote tweets are no improvement. Despite the professional and diplomatic talent in Penrose's statement, one user argued that the VTuber was threatening companies to become more hostile and toxic and making people feel like they were walking on eggshells for expressing their opinion. They always try to frame like expressing their opinion, and then they never tell you the opinion. The opinion is, I believe in a white ethno state. Hey, you can't get mad at me for expressing my opinion. I just think that everyone who isn't me should be unalived. Like, another suggested Penrose wanted gamer subs to engage in cancel culture. A third criticized Penrose for siding with Twitter freaks and declared her fully R-worded. Bro, look at the comments on this. A concerned VTuber fan wrote, quote tweeting Penrose, "The VTuber scene has absolutely been infested with right-wing weirdos actively defending a VTuber that spouts the great placement theory and is just bigoted from head to toe. What happened to the community I loved? Anime fans happened. Incels happened. VAllure CEOs hates..." Okay, I'm not gonna read that out. I don't want any in VAllure, a 4chan user wrote, April 4th, 2025, "I don't want them to interact with the talents even, and no collabs either." There was a thread on 4chan's virtual tuber image board. I mean, Jesus Christ, going to 4, I mean, I guess YouTube, I guess Twitter and 4chan the same at this point, but holy shit, dude, like, image board dedicated to NSF voice acting agency VAllure. The recurring thread called Badge has since moved to one of 8chan's successors, but before the transfer, one Anon espoused their intense feelings on trans talent in VAllure. No trans women, no trans people, period. Transgender talent could not be allowed in VAllure, as trans voice actors could contaminate the company's talent. Besides, the Anon wrote, the audience is broadly not interested or is hostile to some degree. I don't care if they sound feminine. By the way, the whole containment, social contagion thing is such fucking bigotry shit. Like, we don't have enough time to break all that, but I don't care if they sound feminine. I don't want them, and knowing they would be in private DMs hanging out with my Oshi, the poster said, Oshi is a VTubing term used to refer to one's favorite VTuber, their idol. I don't want my Oshi in a position to be compromised, even if I know that she is wonderful and loyal, because it makes me uncomfortable and insecure, especially if she turns out the worst comes to pass and it's just an act, and that they were a sex pest freak that tries to get into the talent's panties. What? Did I just have an aneurysm? Did I just have a stroke live? I don't want my Oshi hanging out with them. I don't want my Oshi in a position to be compromised, even if I know that she is wonderful and loyal to whom, I don't know, because it makes me uncomfortable and insecure. No one's paying me to do this. No one's paying me to, like, this writer got paid, hopefully, by Vice. I'm doing this for free. No one's paying me to take on this psychic damage. And yet here I sit on a Saturday night, reading about Oshis and how this person doesn't want them to be with a trans person because it makes them insecure. And what if, first off, can we talk about someone's, you know that meme where they're like, on today's episode, the writers barely describes fetish? This is it. Especially if it turns out the worst comes to pass and it was just an act, or that they were a sex pest freak that tries to get into the town's panties. My brother in Christ, I think you need to get checked in. I think it's time for you to get off the internet and go get some grass, whichever kind of grass to touch, grass to smoke, and just hang out there in that area and just really reevaluate what are you doing? What are you doing? It may seem a bit peculiar to focus so heavily on one Anon's rant, but his anxieties of a trans talent represents a wider sentiment of bigotry festering across VTubing. One that 4chan has played a welcome home to for quite some time. In June 2024, a lesbian Anon requested ASMR audio suggestions from VAllure fans, stressing she is not trans. On May 2024, a VAllure fan demanded users stop talking about futanari content involving the agency's talent, threatening to shitpost a reply saying VAllure says no trans hires. In 2025 of January, a user said VAllure would be fine as long as the company doesn't hire any transgender people. In 2025, when one user warned VAllure attracts a lot of envy and that there are trans people or trans armies seething at them, and Anon responded to VAllure's Strony Cuddles was in 4chan's corner. VAllure CEO hates you. What the hell? Let you reward you for reading that. Thank you. I appreciate the donation. You guys, again, you don't have to donate, but I appreciate that. But what is this? A man so addicted to porn that he wants to mutilate himself to fill his fantasy. What? We're not even done. We have. Oh, give me a second. I need this. I need more electrolytes. Oh my god. All right, let's decompress for a second. Okay. So, the VTubing sphere has been encroaching on my spaces for a couple of weeks now, and it's partly my fault because my weirdo brain is like, I see bigotry, I must attack, I must break this down, I must explain this away so people understand why this is a big deal. I am seeing so many similarities between what's happening in the gaming sphere, what's happening here, and of course the same overlap is happening in the anime sphere. The right-wing individuals are infecting pretty much all of our hobbies. They are infecting it and they're using the same tactics. They are trying to make it seem like they're the ones responsible for the success of whatever niche subject or whatever niche hobby you are currently finding yourself in. They are the arbiters of it. So they get to decide. We don't want any of these weirdos in our thing, not knowing that a lot of these weirdos have been foundational in either supporting these creators or creating this space. people really like to undervalue what our queer brothers and sisters have done for us in a lot different arenas, and that's fucking stupid and bad, and you guys should stop doing that. Stop alienating them. The fact that this guy doesn't want his Oshi to interact with a trans person because he thinks, what if they're a sex pest weirdo freak, not understanding that he would be the sex pest weirdo freak because that's where his mind goes to. And everyone else who tries to do this whole like trans people are automatically perverted. It's the same logic and people use when they're like, well, there can't be gay people out there because they have gay sex. And I'm a straight man, but if I see gay people, I think of them having sex, and I think about guys touching guys and them being big and sweaty and kissing each other, and that's their fault that I'm thinking these thoughts, so they can't be there. It's not my fault. It's this trans person's fault that I'm thinking that they're a weird pervert and they want to have their way with them, and they're going to use their big soft lips and kiss them. That's not what I want though. I'm just saying that's what they want because that's how they, it's like, it's my brother in Christ. Like, it's 2025. You don't got to do this. You don't have to do this. And I cannot stress this enough. You do not have the platform. You do not have the right as a fucking VTuber fan to judge other people and think that they're weird when you saw earlier these people losing their goddamn minds because a rigged anime avatar opened his eyes. Like, not trying to yuck anyone's yum, but I'm gonna yuck it a little bit, because if we're gonna play this game, there's so much ammunition that they can use against you, and you think you have the guns to attack like an even smaller minority group? In fucking sane, dude. Oh. In April of 2025, I wrote a piece for Vice explaining VAllure's controversial nature. The article discusses the LewTuber agency's comfort with lolicon talent performing explicit ASMR, VAllure's self-imposed limitation on F4F or female for female content, and the company's handling of trans talent. In short, VAllure did not give an answer during its 2024 Gen 1 auditions as to, I feel like a fucking boomer trying to understand this lingo. Like, whether trans talent were able to apply as female applicants, sparking concern among potential trans applicants. The NSW group finally broke its silence on the matter with Gen 2 auditions, stating that anyone self-identifying as a woman was encouraged to audition. However, VAllure seems to imply that trans talent had to pass for cisgender women with their voices, and some of the time with the organization seemed to downplay the sensitivity and serious natures of the questions at hand. Okay, again, listen. This is so dumb to me. This is an adult VTubing agency, right? Do you know some of the biggest like categories for when it comes to like adult content online is trans, like by a wide margin. A lot of people like that. Now, I'm not going to get into the moral implications or anything like that of like fetishizing a group of people. It's fetishes are their fetish. They're not something that you really have control over, right? But a large amount of people who consume adult content consume trans content. Like, it has its own category on websites. So it's weird to be like, let's not cater to those people. Let's not give them the option. Let's just say they have to pass precision of their voices. There are some cis women who have quote unquote masculine or manly voices, right? Deeper voices. Like, this is the same kind of shit you see, like we're seeing right now. If you guys are following the news, where there was a lesbian woman who was attacked by a security guard because he thought she was a man going to a woman's bathroom, which we all knew was going to happen once they started making these bullshit bathroom bills and attacking trans people in bathrooms. It's just going to lead to all women being attacked, because now they can do what's colloquially known as just an ugly law, where it's like, I don't think you're like a woman, show me your genitals, right? Like, this is where this shit happens too. Like, you're doing the same thing here. You are telling these people they have to pass for a voice as cis women, but also it's like, aren't they all doing voices to begin? Like, this is just voice acting, right? Like, It's so crazy to me. Like, and first off, a ton of trans women do voice training all the time. So like a lot of them just got it down. But even if you don't, I think it's weird to be like, well, you got to sound like a woman, whatever that means. Like, oh man, just a weird thing to do in the adult content space. VAllure remains the biggest English language adult VTuber agency on the market. I do believe the company should be held to higher standards on these topics. This is why I decided to write an article addressing, in my personal opinion, the biggest issues of the company. The article was received positively on Blue Sky, but negatively on Twitter. I wonder why. Likely due to misplaced anxiety that I was criticizing Gen 1's talent, not the policies of VAllure's management, which resulted in the female ban, mishandling of the trans talent question, and of course, the decision to appeal to Lolicon fans to begin with. We will talk about Lolicon when I'm done with this, because I have some things to say about that shit. Still, accepting and respecting good faith criticism is part of being a journalist. Criticism is understandable. More importantly, it is worth stressing that plenty of good faith criticism existed around my report. And unlike 4chan, I do not believe Cuddles or anyone Gen 1 talent at VAllure hates trans people. I think there's just a lot of insensitivity around trans talent from management. However, shortly after I published my VAllure piece, I was hit with a tidal wave of transphobic abuse. Right-wing VTuber fans turned the article into a rallying point to attack me personally instead of discussing the merits of my criticism. One right-winger tweeted, "I was just upset that VAllure doesn't cater to her fetishistic trans and queer porn addictions." A second user used the slur, I'm not gonna say that, and declared I was mad normal people won't pander. Another said Vice are disgusting closet diddlers who hate anything men like, while a fourth even insulted you, dear reader, declaring our readership as drug addicted, mentally ill communists. I take huge offense to that. I do not do drugs. I simply fight for the motherland. Anyways, on the virtual asylum, a forum dedicated to discussing VTubers, VTuber drama, and VTuber adjacent things, harassment continued. One user called me a man so addicted to porn that he wants to mutilate himself to fulfill his fantasy. Another said, "You will never be a woman," and told me to cope, seethe, and dilate, you fuck. It's so crazy that for these people who do not like trans women, they sure do know what they have to go through about dilating. A third described me as a pre-transition Coomer blank with as much charisma as a mealworm. One poster even wrote 2 paragraphs about me, one with correct pronouns and one misgendering me, hiding the latter under a spoiler button reading, if male pronouns for Anna Valens would make you angrier. Over at 4chan's VT, a similar anti-trans rhetoric flooded the board. One user called me a salty, Jesus Christ, while another declared I was trying to sex pest the girls behind VAllure. A third called me a wannabe woman coping and seething hard, while additional anons said VAllure is kind of base, but I'm feeling they'll cave in at some point. One user, a self-described transgender person, said, "I am a single R word. There are so many of these loud, obnoxious who make the rest of us look bad." That trans poster went on to call me a bitch who needs her shit kicked in because she wants to sex pest the girls. Sexually harassing lies, half-truth, and rumors became a popular way to target me after the VAllure article. On the virtual asylum, a poster called me a slur who shoved a dildo up their ass that would rumble whenever they got grabbed and pushed on Fall Guys and played with a bunch of kids. What? 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 Hello? Oh my god, how do you what I hope these people are like fantasy writers, because what why was that so long? Like, who shoved a dildo up their ass that would rumble whenever they got grabbed / pushed on Fall Guys and played a bunch of kids. This is completely made up. Half a decade ago, I wrote an article for Daily Dot in which I discussed putting a vibrator against the middle of my chest while playing Fall Guys with a group of unidentified players. The vibrator was set to rumble when any control of vibration occurred, including grabbing other players. 2 or 3 times at the very start, I grabbed another player while testing the vibration effects. Until minutes into the stream, I realized I was grabbing another person, so I stopped. I wrote in 2020. An archive link of daily article shows a sex toy awkwardly between my breasts. The toy cannot be inserted anally due to its shape. Okay, I'm gonna say this. That is kind of a weird thing to do, though. Like, I don't know why you were doing that to begin with, but I don't know why you did that. That is kind of strange. But holy shit, did they get the information wrong? They added the putting up the ass part. Like that, again, the projection happening here. It's clear why far-right VTuber fans will spin these tall tales. They allow anti-trans bigots to paint me as a sexual predator and pedophile and thus discredit my writing by character assassination. There's also, I presume, the thrill of choosing a target to sexually harass justifiably. There's lewd and lurid character to the lie, allowing harassers to simultaneously condemn me while fantasizing about my body being sexually penetrated by a vibrating butt plug. I suspect lurid fantasies of anger, jealousy, and envy also permeate, culminating in a strange sexual obsession with me as a trans critic. The exact same right-winger also spread the rumor that I criticized VAllure because I applied for its gym auditions and was rejected, concluding they don't pass and thus was the reason they got rejected. This erroneous claim spread like wildfire across English VTubing communities, even though I directly stated in 2024 that I refused to audition for VAllure, given concerns with agency's radio silence on trans talent. Animosity has since festered across VTubing. Even those who believe I should not have transphobics in my way still demand I lose my job and tell me to go fuck yourself in the bad way, continuing the lewd nature of the harassment. Jesus Christ, dude. And you know what's crazy? This is exactly what happens anytime someone goes against the gamer gooner brain, right? When they go against the grain, when they go against that brain, right? They get attacked like relentlessly. When Alyssa did her thing with Sweet Baby Inc., people used that as a rallying point to attack her for over a year, and still to this day. When like Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn, when they were talking about gaming and stuff like that, and they got attacked for years on end, still to this day. These people get these hard-ons for, especially just let's be real, it's women, right? It's women, cis, trans, doesn't matter. They see women, they get misogynistic. And they hold on to the stuff and they start hallucinating things to be mad about. And because if you're on the right, things like facts don't fucking matter. It's literally feelings of facts. It just is allowed to spread. And it affects everything. And then you have these grifters who see how easy it is to get one over on these guys and make money by feeding into it. And add on the fact, the level of anonymity when it comes to VTube, because you don't show your fucking face. It's just whatever you have rigged up. You can say whatever you fucking want. You can say whatever you want. You can say the 14 words. You can say the great replacement theory, all that shit, because it's not your face. And most of these people are doing voices. So it's not even their voice. It's just their avatar saying these things. They can literally project all the worst parts of themselves out onto the internet, and the worst people will latch onto that and they will support them. Because like I've always said, it's easy to be a piece of shit on the internet, and people love the easy route. It's so easy to get online and attack minorities because feeling your baser instincts, that just low-hanging emotional response, is all they need. But they have to continuously do that, right? They have to continuously be in controversy. They have to continuously get clipped. They have to continuously put out slop and put out rage bait so they can be talked about, because they don't do anything else. What is the 14 words? It's Nazi shit, bro. It's Nazi shit. 14 words is like, we have to secure like a future for like our children or some shit like that. I'm not gonna quote it, but you can Google the 14 words. There's no doubt in my mind that this backlash, changed in the belief that I'm a degenerate transbian with an axe to grind, inspired more right-wing VTubers and VTuber fans to engage in transphobia. One right-winger called VAllure based because, in his words, trans women are not welcome unless they live and sound like women. Another also called VAllure based because, and argued that there is zero monetary reason the company should ever consider tanking their business to appeal to less than 1% of the population. If you think an adult company adding trans people will tank their company, You have no business talking about that. Once again, hold on. I have to be careful I type, so let me just go big face. Bloomers are into trans porn. Pornhub's year in review shows. Pornhub can be telling. Take Pornhub's year in review in 2022. The tube giants show that women are increasing on the site watching lesbian porn. This year, the site's 10th time doing this showed that boomers, what people consider people 55 and older, are increasingly watching trans porn. In terms of percentage difference in popularity when compared to all of their ages, boomers were 58% more interested in transgender porn than younger folks. Like then you have it here. This is from 2022, almost 3 years ago. Trans porn rose 75% in popularity on the hub. 75%. 75%. In 2022, under the transgender category, it increased the popularity by 75% to become the 7th most popular category worldwide and the 3rd most popular in the US. So again, I do not think adding trans people to your adult agency would tank the company. Because that's always how it works. The more people are like against something they consider a sin, the more repressed they are, the more they will seek it out. Because in public, they have to be like, that's disgusting, that's a sin, I would never do that. Meanwhile, you look up their search history and they can name drop 20 transgender porn stars. Like, that's just how it always works. That's how it always works. Lady doth protest too much, right? How has society progressed so far that now people are unironically asking, what does it mean to sound like a woman? A third VTuber fan concluded. Anxiety over the writer turned into anxiety over trans politics. A Christian VTuber, what? Declared Vice doesn't know what a female is, and a female is a biological woman. That's what a trans person, you kept it on no science. Said VTuber previously harassed Roblox player by saying being gay is a sin. VTuber podcast Under the Tea, popular with right-wing fans, hosts an episode of VAllure articles. Host an episode on the VAllure article filled with chatters laundering homophobic and transphobic beliefs. One user claimed butch lesbians are basically female drag queens. Another artist said the article featured stupid questions that only a trans could come up with. A third stated of me, this person is a degenerate. One chatter added, because it's a trans person, they don't think about themselves when talking about taste and fetish. I am my brain is fucking faulting right now. I can't even speak properly. How is a butch lesbian a drag queen? Basically female drag queens. This sentence makes no sense because female drag queens would mean that there are women who are dressing up as men. Like that's what that means. Like that's what that means, right? That's not, I don't think they understand what they're talking about. Would it be mean for me to say that VAllure doesn't want to chance having autogenophilics? Oh my God. Referring to the trans transitioning belief that transgender lesbians are a man attracted to the idea of being with and being another woman. The aforementioned right-winger who claimed I shoved a dildo up my ass while playing Fall Guys also appeared in the stream, arguing that trans people only try to invade space they are not welcome in to try to make people bend over for you. He commented heavily throughout the stream, expressing his eagerness to create a Blue Sky account as there is good content to be farmed there. The implications of his intentions are obvious. The implication is obvious to his intentions. Kirsche also fired a signal flare for her own community, attracting a transphobic feeding frenzy in her chat while discussing Wood's article. One user declared, if you're a voice actor, no one wants to hear your husky baritone. Another stated, female could include trans men, I suppose, but clearly not trans women. That's such a weird, oh my God. A third argued, queer women don't exist. To which another replied, sadly, people who call themselves queer do exist. Another joke, imagine if they just play the Trump, you'll never be a woman speech. A fifth said, seeing men and female avatars is repulsive. A sixth speculated VAllure probably can't say they don't want trans outright. A seventh quipped about wanting female for female domestic violence ASMR. I didn't think gender discrimination for hiring applies to the entertainment field. Wait, what? I didn't think gender discrimination for hiring applies to the entertainment field. Wouldn't it be, I didn't think gender discrimination for hiring applied to the entertainment field? A Kirsche fan argued. Another said, I was an example of classic tale of AGP extremist throws tantrum. Here, AGP means autogynephile. Once again, autogynephile, sorry. Once again, used to describe trans women as hysterical degenerates obsessed with women's bodies. In one instance, Kirsche cited a website with my dead name, displaying in her entire chat. This also used incorrect pronouns. What the what website would have that? Oh, it's probably fucking like Kiwi Farms or something. As mentioned above, I don't have an innate problem with Kirsche and other VTubers criticizing work, but when the community is filled with transphobia and criticism just so happens to line up with the community's anti-trans bias, when it's done in a way to reinforce harassment already happened within the community, that's different. I have no patience for that, nor should you if you're also a victim of this kind of behavior in VTubing. I don't know, people can take Rev seriously. I don't fucking know either, dude. You guys also just has dumb, awful takes. Why did criticism of my article take on such a loaded political nature? Why did so many right-wingers and VTubers attack my character and usher in a larger conversation on trans people's right to exist in VTubing spaces? Whether it's Kirsche, Under the T, or a bizarrely aggressive right-wing Christian VTuber, these groups are mobilizing their fan bases for more than just criticism. They are using their communities to foster and embrace beliefs like queer women don't exist, trans women aren't women, and that trans people only try to invade space they are not welcome in. Criticism shifted from the article to the person, and from the person to the symbol she represented. Transness, queerness, lesbianism, degeneracy. We are almost done. We're almost done. This is exactly why Ren Penrose was met with such hostility. Yes, partly because of pre-existing tension that dated back to the VAllure article, but also because her decision to cut ties with gamer Supps was read as intensely political, as a commentary on a larger cultural war happening in VTubing. If this environment isn't confronted, the harassment of myself and others only get worse. One person called for Penrose to end her affiliation with Life due to its association with creators whose views strongly conflict with their own. This is a contrived campaign started by a transgender journalist named Anna Valens that already flopped when she got some random person to disavow Kirsche on stream, but then when she tried to take a lap about it, he told her to fuck off. One user wrote, using parentheses to imply I am Jewish. The transgender manager, who is fucking asexual, Ren Penrose, then decided to bite the R-word bullet. The English VTubing community is at a crossroads. Do we allow this sort of rhetoric to continue? Do we allow the far right to fester in our communities, to hang out in our streams, to spread lewd and lurid lies about marginalized people everywhere they go, holding management, talent, and agencies hostage to their whims? I find the answer shockingly easy here. Agencies can express their full-throat support of trans viewers. VTubers can actively purge bigots from their communities, but time is ticking. It's clear, based on the existence of everything from /VT to the virtual asylum, that this problem is getting worse, not better. And harassment of marginalized fans, creators, and journalists will not go away until its agencies and VTubers set the standard. Enough is enough. Bigotry has no place in VTubing. Let's end the problem before it gets worse. It's already worse though. It is already worse. Like I said before, I've been keeping up with all this shit happening in the VTuber space, at least in that particular area. And here we go. Here's what Kirsche had to say about. So what's happening now is, just to give you guys a little context here. Do you remember that game, Crime Boss Rockay City? It was a game that had, like, I believe, like, Michael Madsen in it. It's like that weird fucking weird game. You know what I'm talking about? It has like Danny Trejo. And why am I acting like I'm not on the internet? I can just show you guys. It's like this game, right? Crossroads, Rocket City. Apparently, Kirsche was one of these creators attached to it, and they recently dropped her, which I'm like, who fucking cares? No one played the game. Like, no one's playing that game. Like, I think right now, what, 450 people playing 42 minutes ago, 1,000 last 24 hours, 7,500 people at its peak. It didn't do well. It didn't do well. I'm only using these because this isn't actually a game that does need a large base to be successful, and it doesn't have it on Steam, which means it probably doesn't have it anywhere else. This game though, that's what she's referring to. She was let go as a partnered creator from this. Here's what she wrote. A month into a life ruination campaign started by people who hate me, and during a pre-planned vacation where communication access to my home and resources minimal, in-game studios, devs of Crime Boss Rocket City, a game I loved and heavily promoted since its release in 2023, dropped their relationship with me. They were swayed by anonymous posts, Reddit users who admit to not watching me, people who lie by omission, and people who strawman all my stances. And to cap it off, a muckraker from a dying news outlet with an axe to grind decided to compile it into, she's talking about Anna Valens, by the way, into an article with no more integrity than a Tumblr blog they no doubt had. This company is not experiencing cancel culture. My audience were paying customers who were voting with their voice and their wallet after a company makes an astronomically poor decision they disagree with. These are not review bombs. These are not people who don't own the game brigading. In-game are experiencing what happens when you capitulate to cancel culture. These two things are not the same. It's incredibly obvious and everyone knows it. You people held this power to ruin others reputationally and financially for years, and we are now standing up for ourselves. Fuck you, fuck cancel culture, and fuck the Darvo that happens when anyone decides to defend themselves. You reap what you sow. So she's fucking coping here, right? She's coping. She's coping here. Because this is not cancel culture at fucking all. Cancel culture isn't real. At least for how do I phrase this in a way that makes sense? If you are a visible cis white person, you pretty much have no cancel culture happening to you. There are so many celebrities, like Louis C.K., who should have been canceled and is still successful, still finding success. Fuck it, just say celebrities in general. Let's take race out of it. Celebrities in general, for the most part, can come back. Mel Gibson was canceled and he's coming back. Kevin Spacey was canceled, now he's making his comeback. Cancel culture doesn't exist, it doesn't work. Unless you're a minority, then they can bury you because there's a bunch of other shit happening in this country to minorities that people who aren't a minority don't have to deal with. If you're a black person, you probably know this phrase, twice as hard to get half as much, right? So cancel culture for us, very real. For any sort of minority, very real. But for them, no, it's not at all. And on top of that, it is not cancel culture for a company to make a business decision to not want to associate with someone who espouses the fucking great replacement theory. Like, it's not, of course, fucking John JD is in here. It's not cancel culture. The post you're commenting on is not saying the company is getting canceled. It's saying that what you're experiencing is not the meaning of cancel culture. You are just dropped from a brand because they do not align with whatever your views are. This would happen to anyone, and it's pretty rational action for a business if they don't want to be tied with a certain image. Also, if your followers are leaving negative views about a game because of things outside of the content of the game, a lot of people would consider that review bombing. Thank you, Mighty Keith. That is 100% true. That is literally review bombing. If something happens outside of a game and you are now impacting the game score, that's a review bomb. If your fans are going to this game that they absolutely weren't fucking playing and are just review bombing it because you are no longer attached to it, that is a review bomb. That is a review bomb. And you heard talking about how it's a ruination campaign started by other people. Other people didn't make you say the shit that you said, Kirsche. Like, other people didn't do that. You did that. Like, you did that.